Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt from RC Overload, and we are doing a Proline Pro-2 update today on the chassis, the front end, and some ideas that I have with this. I started to assemble it to get to where it is right now with the front end, just because I needed to see some things when I started to assemble it. So let's start off with the front end, shall we? Show you guys some upgrades. The first upgrade that I wanted to show you guys, besides the plastic parts that are on here, is this carbon fiber brace. Now, most of you guys will remember this from my Pro MT build. This is the same carbon fiber brace that mounts up to the shock tower, and all it does is support it from bending and flexing. It's still using the stock plastic shock tower, but you're just adding a brace in with a really cool look. But yeah, like I said, I got most of the front end already assembled. It's already at the point where I just need to attach it to the front end of the chassis. But again, I had to work on this a little bit before doing that. Also went ahead and installed some, come on, focus. Something like that. The blue aluminum cambers for the front end. We are leaving the knuckles the same plastic. I've done very well with the Pro MT. The Pro MT has the plastic knuckles in it as well. And so I'm not concerned about it breaking. As you guys can see, pretty much everything else on this, is all the stock parts. Now these do come with aluminum ball ends on the tie rod. Sorry guys. Aluminum ball ends instead of plastic ones, which are great from Proline Racing. With the kit, normally you get the aluminum wheel hexes, right? No plastic ones. And the plastic control arms are really beefy. Again, with my Pro MT, I have never broken one yet. And I don't expect to break one on this, especially being on-road. So they are pretty beefy. Got some good size to them. So that's it as far as upgrades on the front end. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the chassis here. As you guys can see, I've pretty much stripped it clean, except for I started to add the aluminum steering assembly. Why did I put this in? Well, because one, I think it looks absolutely awesome. Two, it's a lot stronger than the stock plastic one right here, right? You get a cool carbon fiber, you get aluminum, bearings and everything like that. Except for there's one downside to this, and I want you guys to all be aware, because this is also available for the Pro MT and the buggy as well. It's all the same setup with the steering assembly. On the stock one, okay? This is the stock one. Let me see if I can line it up, right? You have a steering saver. What is that? I hit a bump and the steering servo wants to keep going. Let's see if I can do this. You can bend that because of a spring inside of this, right? There's a spring in here that allows this arm, where it attaches to the servo, to bend and move without breaking the rest of the plastic parts on this. So it's a steering saver. However, you do not have the steering saver anymore on this setup. It is solid aluminum all the way through, so you need to be careful. If you're going to bash your truck, you're going to run it hard, this may not be the ideal upgrade option for you, because you have a higher chance of stripping out the servo gears or breaking the aluminum pieces if you hit something hard, right? So staying with the stock plastic one may actually be a better idea in that circumstance. And also the plastic on this is actually still very well built. It'll hold up to a lot of abuse. I am still running it on my Pro MT. Nothing is broken. But this being on-road, this should be a totally fine setup unless I hit a curb, which I hope I'm not. I hope. So that's what I've done here with the front end, okay? Now, as you can see, I have removed the other battery hold-down position, kind of like this one, but in the front, because I want the battery to come as far forward as possible, removing the weight from the rear end. So I've done that for now. I may re-drill a couple of holes further up to remount that holder in there and move this up as well to take care of the battery space. Don't know yet. We'll see as I keep building this, see how the balance point of where this thing balances out at. I get a lot of ideas going. However, I wanted to talk with you guys about this back end, right? This is where the transmission normally sits, the rear control arms, the shock tower, and everything. And as you can see, I've already disassembled it off the truck. I have put the control arms on, just kind of testing out a few things. Now, normally, let's see if I can do this. Nothing's bolted up. We'll put it down, you guys can see, right? Now, normally, the transmission is mounted up something like that on the rear end. Right? The motor sits in this corner here and hangs off the backside. Now, I've been talking with a few guys on Instagram and on Facebook and whatnot, and some of them actually recommend that I turn this completely around and re-drill some new holes so that the motor is now in front of the wheels instead of being behind. It'll displace the weight a little bit better. So I'm playing around with this idea to see if I really want to do that. But that also means, hold on, let me grab it, that I need to make up another way also for the rear shock tower to be mounted, because now it's going to be further back. So I'm trying to toy around with the idea. How do I do this? Is this a good idea for it being a drift car? Or should I leave it in the back and just try to displace most of my weight towards the front as best as I can? So I've got some ideas playing around. If you guys know of any better ideas, or if you've done a similar setup like this to the Pro-2, let me know. I'm kind of curious, because I'm waiting on a video from one guy who I talked to on Instagram. He says he's done it. He's going to show me the video. I'm just waiting for it to be uploaded so I can take a look. Once I find that out and I decide my route, I'll show you guys how I mount this up later on. So that's pretty much where we are at. I just need to mount up the front end now and get that on, and then we can start working on this back end and getting this in. Now, my only other concern with this back end, if you guys can see, actually I'll hold it up. You guys can see that the control arms kind of face more of this direction. I know it may be a little hard to see on camera, but they have a tilt up here inwards towards there. Now, if they're in the normal direction, they have a slight inwards tilt towards here. I don't know if I reverse this, if that is going to have an effect when drifting, because naturally, instead of the tires being pointed in the front, they'll be pointed in the back. Granted, I can compensate that, I suppose, with the toe linkage setup and readjust for that. But I gotta consider, is that going to make an effect on the suspension and other geometry? I am not a professional drifter. I've never drifted before. I'm taking this kind of with a grain of salt and learning from all of you that do drift and people that have done ideas like this. So, I don't know. We're still toying around with that idea a little bit, because I think this is a better setup. Now, I can fab this up so it works a little bit better and mount that up kind of like so. Actually, this would get reversed because of the shocks. So it would kind of look something like that. I can kind of twist it around here, give you guys a little bit better idea. So I don't know. Still toying around with some ideas here. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to let me know. I'm open to any and all suggestions. But that's just a little update on the Pro-2 and kind of where I'm at. I think we're going to take a little break here and work on the Baja build a little bit. And work on the Sakura D4 that I have. And wait until we get some better ideas with this before we start working more on it. Alright? So that is it for now. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about what I've done here or what I'm showing you, feel free to post in the comment box below. I'm putting a ton of information in the description box. And if you guys have any recommendations, feel free to let me know as well. So, Like the video, subscribe for more. We're doing some crazy stuff to this, as you can see. And that's it. So, till next time, guys, I will see you on the next RC Overload, and stick around. This is gonna be cool. It's gonna be epic.